Hey folks, Mobile Geezer back with this week's Geezer Bits for Sunday, May 27th, 2018. So we'll start with the big news of the week. There's been a number of stories saying that Essential will not be coming out with a PH2. Remember, the original Essential phone was called the PH1. And the stories are also saying that Andy Rubin is considering selling. Now, whether he's considering selling the entire company or the mobile part of the company or just parts of the company, nobody's sure. But Andy Rubin did get on Twitter this week basically saying that the accounts were somewhat overstated and they want to concentrate on the products that they think will do well going forward, and of course stop concentrating on the products that aren't doing well. So it looks like we won't be seeing an Essential Phone 2 anytime soon, and whether or not Andy Rubin is actually considering selling the company, I guess we'll find out. But that was big news among the techies, especially the techies that have the Essential PH1. And now we're back to our ongoing ZTE and US story. As of this Friday, ZTE and the US government have a tentative agreement to get ZTE back on its feet. On Friday, I gather, President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, I actually looked up how to say that, made some kind of deal that ZTE would pay a $1.3 billion fine along with some major management shakeups. Since the inception of the ban on ZTE on April 15th, ZTE has lost over $3 billion. But hopefully they'll get back on their feet, but they're still getting some resistance from Congress. So a lot of us are hoping that ZTE starts doing business in the US again, but we'll see. The story is still ongoing. And for phone announcements this week, the HTC U12 Plus was announced on Wednesday the 23rd. It's coming in the US at $800. Compared to the U11, they've added dual lenses, including dual selfie cams up front. Also enhancements to the squeeze functionality, and it'll be available globally, meaning the US also, in June through both Amazon and the HTC US website. I'll throw up the specs just so you can see what they look like. And the previously announced LG G7 ThinQ went up for sale this week for $750, at least in the US. It has a very bright screen, 1000 nits, which is pretty much more than anybody would ever need as far as brightness. Supposedly also has a very big sound. It uses the insides of the phone as an acoustic chamber. They call it boombox, and I gather it's very, very loud, especially for a phone with only one speaker. It also has a Google Assistant button, which nobody thinks was necessary at all. But in any case, the G7 is up for sale, and you can get it for $750. And the last thing I have this week, the Samsung Gear S4 watch will be coming out running Wear OS instead of Tizen as its operating system. Seems that Samsung is looking to get away from Tizen. Maybe it hasn't been so successful or as successful as they want it to be, but they're jumping on the Wear OS bandwagon. So it'll be pretty much like the other Android Wear watches. So the Samsung Gear watches have been very popular among the techies, and I don't expect this to be any different. Myself, I haven't spent any money for a Samsung Gear S4, and my favorite Android Wear watch to date has been the ZTE Quartz. So we'll see how it sells, but it's interesting that they're switching from Tizen to Wear OS. So that's all I have for this week, folks. As always, comments are welcome, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.